ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, shloka number 16 to 20.
किं कर्म किमकर्मेति कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात् कर्मणो ह्यपि बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येत् अकर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तकृत्स्नकर्मकृत् यस्य सर्वे समारम्भाः कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः.
Fourth chapter entitled as Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of renunciation of action through knowledge. In this chapter we have done up to shloka number 19 so far. Initially he talked about the avatara rahasyam. He said that very same knowledge which was given to the very first being by the divinity is given through this body of Mr. Krishna is given to you, Arjuna. And Arjuna didn't understand this, so he asked a question, and then Avatara Rahasya was spoken about. And then he said, the purpose of Avatara is to establish Dharma. And how does the Dharma get established? By protecting Sattvic people. So how do we establish Dharma in us? By protecting the Sattva in us. See, all of us are made up of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The Tamas and Rajas pull us down. Sattva helps us to rise above. So we have to choose a lifestyle that helps us to enhance Sattva. So protecting Sattvic people, paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam. Why people do all the wrong things? Arjuna asked this. Atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. Arjuna is asking Sri Krishna, by what propelled? We studied this in the third chapter. Sorry. By what propelled does a human being commit sin? Even though it is against his wish. Sri Krishna says, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha. Because of this rajas, and of course tamas also. It's because of rajas and tamas we do all this nonsense. So, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha. The kama, krodha means the modifications, all modifications. When you fulfill the desire, greed, fear and all comes. Anything you go against, you get anger. You see yourself compare yourself with those who have more than you, you get jealousy. Those who have less than you, you get arrogance. So kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya, all these modifications. Because of these things, we do. See, there is both the Rakshasa and the divine personality within us. But we are only feeding the Rakshas. We don't feed. There is a terrorist also. There is a, what do you call, army soldier also. You are going on feeding the terrorist within, and he will be more powerful. You feed the army soldier, he will be more powerful. What are we feeding? So he says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I keep coming again and again because you establish, again it corrodes. You establish, again it erodes and corrodes, it goes on. Then again and again I'll come and establish it. And therefore, one of the best ways of establishing dharma is through knowledge. And he gives the knowledge. So, from verse 1 to 10, the topic was how self is the eternal teacher. In other words, it's the divinity that has been teaching from the time immemorial. This knowledge, Brahma Vidya, is not something that can be taught by a person who is still identified with ego. Only one who has risen above the ego and has, dissolved the ego by identifying with the Atma completely. So it is the divinity that has spoken through the great masters from time immemorial, that has been compiled as 4 Vedas by the great Veda Vyasa. So, who is giving this knowledge? Bhagavan is giving this knowledge. That's why he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So this knowledge is apaurusham. It is not something that is coming by human effort. It is coming from the divinity directly. Understand? All you need to do is get connected. To the extent you get connected, good things happen through you. So this is different from with ego you wanting to do good things. So when with ego you want to do good things, it is propelled by good desire. So we say that will develop good vasanas. Punya phalam will come. When the same thing is done with selfishness, papa phalam will come. You understand? Whereas self-realized masters have no desire to do good, have no desire to do bad. The fact that they are identified with the divinity, through them dharma gets established. That's what we need to understand. So therefore, he spoke about all these things. Self is the eternal teacher. Then he says, from verse 11 to 18, he talks about how the enlightened souls relate with action, how the self relates to action, not enlightened souls. What is the connection between self and action? That he explained. There, the most important shloka, we said, was shloka number 18. Seeing Atma in action. Meaning, correct. Seeing Akarta, Akarma in Karma. Karma in Akarma. Seeing Akarma in Karma means while doing the action, seeing oneself as Akarta. Karma in Karma means even though the action is going on, one should see oneself as Akarta, non-doer. Then seeing Karma in Akarma. Meaning seeing the Papa Punyam Karma accruing even in a person who's sitting doing nothing, though sitting doing nothing, but lot of मैं करता हूं, I will not do the action. That is what Arjuna did in the first chapter. So even though you're sitting down, but with this attitude, I will not do anything, then you are still a karta. Though not acting, there will be karma for you. So karma always belongs to the body, mind, intellect, anatma, and atma is always beyond karma. This he explained. Now from 19 to 24, actions of an enlightened, not binding. So here he's talking about Gnani's karma. You know, what happens to the actions done by Gnani? See, this is a very important knowledge that we need to understand what is giving from verse 19 to 24. Because, especially when we talk Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita to the corporates, to the youngsters, not going so much into the shlokas, we say you should rise above your desires and act. Even in our class we say this, but there's enough time to explain all this. There you don't have that much time to explain. So people say, hey, yaar, if all my desires go, how will I act? Why will I act? You understand? Because the chronology of action is what? Vasana, thought, desire, action. How can there be an action without desire? So we say, no. It's not that you are going to do action without desire. It's not that knowledge will eat up all your desires. No. What will happen is the knowledge will burn the past and future. The knowledge will churn the knowledge will char the mind. You understand? As a result, what happens? Your sanchita vasanas are gone. The total vasanas are gone. I explained this in the last class. And you don't create new vasanas. Agami also gone. Then what happens? The prarabdha which propelled you to take birth, that continues. So those desires which is manifesting through prarabdha vasanas, they are natural. So which is what I explained, like singing, dancing, whatever it could be. Such nature, when it is coupled with the jnanam attained by the jnanis, it obviously will manifest aligning with dharma. This is what we need to understand. Once you are in awareness, thereafter it's impossible for you to do pap. Impossible. Once you are not in awareness, even though you may be doing good actions, apparently, it is also conditioned actions. Like a lot of people are brought up, they are born in a pure vegetarian family. And they are brought up as vegetarians, and they are pure vegetarians. Or you can nowadays pure vegan. But that veganism, that vegetarianism in them is a conditioned aspect. It's not something that is coming out of awareness. Something that comes out of awareness will percolate in all aspects. It won't be just in eating. How you treat your employees, how you treat your colleagues. You are a vegan, you are a vegetarian, but you eat other fellows' brains, going on chewing them, torturing them. So it will happen because your vegetarianism, veganism, all these things are conditioned, not something that is coming out of awareness, not something that is coming out of knowledge. Anything that comes out of knowledge, awareness, will percolate in every aspect of your life. Buddha's compassion remained compassionate, even when people were negative to him. Huh? If somebody is bad to you, but you get agitated, you want to finish them off, that is not compassion. Or people who are, they are very nice people, good people, or people who don't have anything to do with them, you don't know them, and somebody tells you they're suffering, oh, you feel bad. But people say, that fellow who planned to murder you and you escaped, now he is suffering. Will you have compassion for that fellow? So, our compassion, all these things are conditioned. So, therefore, a Gnani only expresses the prarabdha vasanas. And the prarabdha vasanas, when it is expressed in the light of self-awakening, will always be in the protection, alignment with Dharma. Protection of Dharma and alignment with Dharma. So, some people, after realization, their prarabdha, they continue being in the world. You will not know if the person is enlightened or not. See, we have been told Sri Krishna is an avatara. Sri Rama is an avatara. Now, if we were not told Sri Krishna is an avatar, and also, was Sri Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra wearing white kurta, white dhoti and mala like me, or akko robes and giving Bhagavad Gita lecture? He was wearing the clothes that was perfect for a charioteer on the battlefield. So like you see nowadays, the army soldiers, people in Air Force and Navy, they wear a particular set of clothes when they go and do their work. What is suiting them? So like that he was wearing. And if Shri Krishna had not given Bhagavad Gita, which was not, through tradition passed on generation after generation, only if the story was told without Bhagavad Gita, how many of us will even consider Sri Krishna as a Gnani? You understand? So, we take, this person is into this field for so many years, is wearing this kind of clothes. Always Chandan is there on his forehead, etc., are the criteria for us to determine somebody's spirituality. You understand? Whereas if he was wearing jeans and t-shirt and fighting on the battlefield, from his angle, he would have been doing the right thing, but we won't understand. So there are so many Jnanis, realized souls, who lived, in the world and are living just like you and me, normal persons. We won't know. So after enlightenment, just expressing the prarabdha, one may be in the lifestyle of grastha-ashrama, meaning worldly life. Or few people who have taken up sannyas as a lifestyle and have withdrawn from the world. They have burnt this ego and they give up all their past. They burn the bridges. So they burn the name also. And they take up a new name. Narendra Datta became Swami Vivekananda. So they burn the ego and they are now living a new life. That sannyasi lifestyle, some people may follow because their prarabdha is such. Hardly any actions they are expressing. So now what he's saying is, Gnani's action, whether in pravritti marga, worldly actions, or nivritti marga, in sannyas, both will not incur papa punya. Both will not bind. So an enlightened person's actions never bind. Knowledge chars the karma. You understand? When your actions are roasted in the fire of knowledge, it loses the capacity to bring out more vasanas. So this is what is explaining from 19 to 24. Excellent portion. Then from 25 to 30, another brilliant portion comes in the Gita. It's called 12 yajnas. There he talks about how to convert every action of yours from the time you wake up in the morning till you go to sleep. Convert all actions into worship. Yajna. That he talked. Last week we saw verse number 19. He whose undertakings are free from desire and expectation. Yasya sarve samarambaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. Whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge. Jnanagni dagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. The wise people call such people as pandits, meaning sage. Such people are called as a sage by the wise people. So I told you, Tom, Dick and Harry calling us pandits doesn't matter. Really, really wise people, do they consider you as a pandit? When will they consider you as a pandit? Yasya sarve samarambaha. So I told you, if you are wise, you will not start any karma. If you are intelligent, unnecessarily you will not start something new. Because starting, we are all experts. But to maintain the consistency, continue and complete it, we don't have the capacity. You understand? So we give up. So wise people will never start. If they start, they will put in their effort and see to it that they complete it. Swamiji has completed so many cycles of Bhagavad Gita lectures in many different cities. 18 chapters, every year one chapter. Like that, 2-3 cycles he has completed. And in between, when he was growing old and also his time was required for many other things, he didn't stop. He said, okay, I can't lecture now. I can't travel everywhere, so only a few places he was going. And he said, the rest, Sunandaji will do. So the tradition has to continue. If it started, it has to continue till it reaches its end. So, yasya sarve samarambaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. Those whose undertakings are free from desire and expectations. Kama sankalpa varjitaha means, see, the kama comes from sankalpa, no? You develop desire when thoughts come slowly and they start flowing, you develop desire. So his actions are not propelled by desire and wants. It is just due to prarabdha. Whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge. With the knowledge, which knowledge? Akarma in karma, karma in akarma. That knowledge. Burnt by the fire of knowledge. Such a person is called as a wise person by Gnani. Then in verse number 20, did we also do verse 20? Anybody remembers?
No, Swamiji. It was 19.
We've done only 19. Okay. So then he gets on to verse number 20. In this 19 and 20, he's talking about one who is in pravritti marga after knowledge. Then he gets on to talking about one who is in nivritti marga after knowledge. Let's continue chanting shloka number 20, verse number 20.
त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः
Tyaktva karma phala sangam. First he puts it in past tense. Tyaktva. Understand? Tyaktva means having renounced. Renounced what? Karma phala sangam. Having renounced attachment to fruit of action. He's not talking about having renounced action here. He's not talking about sannyasi. He's talking about a person who is in the world but have not renounced the actions but only have renounced the attachment to fruit of action. And nitya triptaha. The tripti, that contentment is a constant contentment in a Gnani, he says. Nitya triptaha. How? Since the focus is on that which is nityam, the tripti is also nitya tripti. If the focus is on anitya, the tripti will be not nitya. This is the problem. We are trying to get tripti from anitya stuff. Once in a while, because our work demands us to go in different places and give lectures in Delhi. Sometimes I have class in the morning and evening also. I live in Faridabad, so instead of going so far back, I come to Alokji's house in GK2, have lunch, sleep, take rest, and then go for the evening class. In Alokji's house, he orders, pickle and all from a particular place. It's called Tripti Foods. So I'm talking about Tripti here. So I'm talking about it now here. Tripti Foods. It only delivers food. It will give you Tripti for a temporary period. So it is not going to give you Tripti. You understand? Nitya Tripti you will get only if your focus and identification is with Atma. That's what he's saying. Such a person, due to his establishment in the knowledge, Nitya Tripti. Then Nirashraya is a very important thing. Nitya Tripti Nirashraya. Ashraya means what? Ashraya means dependence. Nirashraya means absolutely no dependence. Dependent on nothing. Now, this dependent on nothing we need to understand correctly. Now, I am dependent on, laptop to conduct this class. I am dependent on Sudarshan to record this class. I am dependent on electricity, and not just electricity, I am dependent on the Wi-Fi. Many factors for this class to go, isn't it? So, what does it mean when he says Nirashraya, depending on nothing? Depending on computer, this and that. How do you say dependent on nothing? Dependent on nothing means, see, our dependence on something is always for something, isn't it? Now, we depend on car, motorcycle, car, house, friends, relatives, in today's world for happiness. Jnanis don't depend on any of this for happiness. they depend on these things, meaning they contact it only for transactional purpose. To conduct the class, I need a laptop. And I put my, the PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that in my laptop. To send emails, I need it, etc. So, depending on nothing for bliss, for happiness, for transactional purpose, yes. You understand? That's what it means. Depending on nothing for the inner happiness. They depend on only Atma, nothing else, because they know Atma is Ananda. In yesterday's class, every morning on Saturdays, 8 to 9, we have Tattva Bodha. So there he talks about Atma as what? Sat Chit Ananda Swarupam. See, this is the problem. Ajnanis depend on the world for happiness. So Vedanta says, listen, have some sense. When something by itself is impermanent, depending on it for permanent happiness, how foolish is it? Then, इन्होंने ऐसा कर दिया, वैसा कर, उन्होंने ऐसा कर दिया, वैसा कर दिया means what? He is temporary, he is impermanent. How much I depended on him? How can you depend on that fellow? You cannot. Therefore, dependent on nothing external for inner happiness. One of the most important qualities, sign of spiritual evolution, is to have that mental independence, freedom. Attain financial independence. Well, which is good, but you cannot attain financial independence without mental independence. Not possible. Because after having, given up the job with X amount of money in the bank, if you don't have any control over your mind, which keeps on projecting lots and lots of desires, what will happen? Then after 3 years, 4 years, you will still take up another job. You understand? Therefore, main thing is inner independence. So he says, Nitya Triptaha Nirashrayaha is very important. These are all what? Talking about a Gnani. Tyaktva Karma Phala Sangam Nitya Triptaha Nirashrayaha. So one whose actions are not propelled by egoistic attitude that aham karta, nor is he doing the action with the desire for the fruit. He is totally contented in the present, in whichever level he is or she is, and not dependent on anything external for inner happiness. Such a person who is in the world, karmanyabhi pravrittopi, even though acting, you understand? Karmani abhipravrittaha api, even though engaged in action, he says, naiva kinchit karoti saha, na eva kinchit karoti saha. Saha means he. Na eva kinchit karoti. He does nothing at all. So beautifully he says, if these conditions are all taken care of, even though he may be in the world like you and me, fully doing action, his actions are absolved. It doesn't produce karma. So I told you, karma is produced not by action, but by the doership attitude. If you have the doership, then there is enjoyership. If there is no doership, no enjoyership. You understand? You will have to enjoy the punya papa balam if you are doing actions as a doer. You are doing the action as a non-doer, which is only possible with knowledge. We are not talking about tamasic. You understand? See, There was a story I read many years ago. One fellow in US had called up the police, 9/11, they have to call there, He called up and said, listen, I woke up just, as soon as he woke up, he called. I just woke up from my bed in the morning and my clothes are all smeared with blood stains and there's a knife next to me on the bed which is also stained with blood and my hands are also blood stained. I don't know what happened. He reported it. So the police came to his house with a dog and all, and they tracked the whole thing to a house in the neighborhood about half a kilometer or so away from his house. And that was his father-in-law's house. And they found there when they entered, the father-in-law was lying on the bed, murdered in a pool of blood. So they said, my God, what is this? Then they found out that actually this fellow only murdered him. The son-in-law murdered the father-in-law. Don't get ideas. Listen to the story fully. So then it was proven in the court, and it actually also, the truth is, that this fellow has this problem of sleepwalking, somnambulism. And he gets into some kind of imaginations. And the path to his in-laws' house is recorded in his subconscious now. So the feet had taken him there, and he is imagining that somebody is attacking and is fighting with them, and he has murdered his father-in-law. This was proven. And the court said this fellow is acquitted, not convicted. But the judgment is not over. Judge said this fellow is acquitted, but he is not going home. He has to go to a psychologist's clinic, get admitted, get completely cured. Only then he can get back to the society. I read this somewhere. See, that fellow doesn't have mens rea, what they call in law term, He doesn't have any, bad intention. He doesn't have intention to murder. So, even in the world, intention is not there. How can you convict that fellow? So, in Vedanta also we say, when there is no doer shape, when you understand about yourself, identify with the Atma, without doer shape, then there is no karma. So in this context, I also told another story, if you remember. I said, once a fellow had murdered with intention. Now this story says, this fellow murdered with intention, and he is from Vedanta class. Don't ask me if he was from my class, but he was from some Vedanta class. Okay. So, he had murdered, and he was caught, and he was taken to the court. And it is proven that he only murdered, but then he was arguing, sir, I didn't murder, I am Atma, Akarta, Abhokta. He was Karmani, all that he was chanting. The judge said, oh, very good, excellent. Seems that you've been studying Gita very well. What you forgot is, I also attend the same class. Okay, so judge said, I also attend the same class, Baba. I also study every day, but you seem to have missed the point. I understood. What is that? Correct. Atma doesn't do anything. Obviously, I am also not writing sentence for Atma to be put in jail. Understand? I am only passing sentence to put your body, mind, intellect into jail. So he passed the sentence saying, you go to the jail. So don't unnecessarily imagine wrongly and then say, I can do whatever I want and get away. No. You understand? Doership agar hai, to enjoyership zarur hoga. Doership nahi hai, koi enjoyship nahi hai. You understand? This point clearly you understand. So he says, having renounced attachment to the fruit of action. And whenever we talk about renunciation, we have said one more point. Remember, renunciation of anything is not possible. You cannot renounce anything. Oh, he's given up his job because he's taken a full-time job of lecturing. You understand? Only when you take up something higher do you become free from the attachment to the lower. You cannot detach from the lower unless you have conscious identification with the higher. So when he says having renounced attachment to the fruit of action means what? He is through knowledge burnt that he is the doer. Therefore, no egoistic attitude while doing the action that aham karta, nor is he interested in the fruit that can come because he knows that I am Atma, which is paripurna. Therefore, his identification is with Nityam. Therefore, he is Nitya Triptaha, and therefore he is Nirashrayaha. Absolutely no dependence whatsoever. And without dependence, he goes about doing his activities in the world. Such a person, whatever actions he is doing, he does not do anything though he is engaged in action. Even though you may see him doing a lot of activities in the world, he is doing nothing. What is saying? So he talked about in 19 and 20, he talked about a Gnani who is in the world. So you forget, oh my God, this thought, that if I study Vedanta and I start gaining knowledge, then I'll give up action. You will not give up action. You may take very few percentage of people take sannyasi lifestyle. In fact, from here it looks sannyasi lifestyle is easy. You go live sannyasi life, you will know. You understand? It's not easy. Because if you have not overcome the mind, wherever you go, you are carrying the mind. You can leave everybody. You can run away from your wife. You can run away from your husband, children, everything. Can you run away from your mind? Wherever you go, you cannot run away from your mind. That's why people, they go from, especially in the Middle East. I lived in Middle East for 6 years. So that way a little bit of, sometimes I have this feeling when this war is going on there. And every now and then they say, this was dropped on Dubai, that was dropped on Dubai. I get, it's not attachment, but that feeling is there because it's a wonderful country. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, that UAE, for that matter, even everybody is great people. I've met so many great human beings there. They follow their faith, but they're wonderful human beings. Now, in war, I don't think so anybody wins. There is no winner. Everybody loses. You understand? Anyway, instead of getting into all that. So, there, while living in Dubai, you will see beautiful things, everything provided by the country. No tax, nothing. And excellent country, everything provided, safety, everything to a great extent. You get the best of both, the West and the East. You live there. Now, even though you live there, within you, you have this understanding that I'm an Indian. Isn't it? I'm an Indian with Indian passport. I'm just living here. I must follow the rules and regulations of this country. Enjoy. But not get attached. You enjoy without attachment. Exactly like that, a Gnani lives. You understand? A Gnani lives. Non-resident Indian living in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or any Middle East country, even nowadays they allow him to buy properties also. But still you are an Indian. With Indian passport, even if you are born there, in the passport issued in Indian embassy will say born in Dubai, but Indian passport. You understand? You will live like NRS in the world, non-resident self. You understand? Non-resident Indian, non-resident self or non-resident Atma. You live here, go about doing everything, renouncing the fruit of action. Continue doing your action with no dependence, absolute contentment, depending on nothing. He does not do anything, though he is engaged in action. That's the thing. So, it is not that you give up action. There are very few percentage of people who give up. So, people who live in Dubai, many of them, after living 30, 40 years, they don't understand this. Now, they're attached to the comforts and all that. So they say, I can't go back to India now. We, around 60, 65, you retire. Retire होने के बाद, where to go? So India, obviously you can go because you are a citizen of that country. But then they say, India, comforts. What they actually don't tell, they will keep blaming comforts and all that. But can you guess what they don't tell? Why they are afraid of coming back to India? Relatives. You understand? When you come back, my relatives are there. My brother, my sister, my this thing, my that thing. Bada problem hai. They'll invite. You go also problem. Don't go also problem. If you go, what gift did you bring? You took gift also problem. Didn't take gift also problem. Dubai, very simple. From here you call, how are you all? I couldn't come. I'm staying so far away, but I'm thinking of you all day. Oh, what a good fellow my brother is, So they say, I might as well stay here, far away. You understand? So, fellows are afraid. I don't want to go back to India. Okay, then he'll go to Canada. We'll go to New Zealand. They're migrating. Why? Sir, between you and me, Canada, education free till 12th. And health also free. My God, Swamiji, health is the bigger problem. So much money goes in health itself. There are people during Corona paid the hospital bill selling their house. Unbelievable. So they're scared. So Canada, health free, education for children free till 12th. So isliye I'm going. So when they come and talk to us after, because they attend our classes, they say we are going, I don't know whether it's correct thing, but I want to go. What do you say? You decided, you've taken them everything, now you're going, why are you asking me? It doesn't matter. Go follow Vedanta there. Follow Vedanta there means when you go to Canada, go with an attitude of giving. You are going to Canada because this is free, that is free. If you go with the attitude that I will get something, merely ye free hai, udhar ye hai, wo hai, you will not be happy. When you go there, go to give. Otherwise, don't go. Understand? Even in Dubai, the fellows are complaining. Oh, they've started parking fees. Those days, no parking fee. Then slowly, because they don't charge interest, what do you call? They don't have tax and interest also, etc. Very little here and there. How will the country grow? So they said, okay, let's charge for the parking. And the fellows started complaining. Parking can charge karta. You might as well jolly well pay back. You're taking so much from this country. You understand? Instead of being grateful, you're complaining. So the mind, wherever you go, you cannot become free from the mind. You can leave everything and go. Will you leave the mind? Mind will travel with you. So sannyas is not that easy. If you haven't got a mature mind, taking sannyas is a big headache, big problem. You turn and become a hypocrite. So you might as well be a grasta. So majority sannyasi is not applicable. Very few. So some people take up sannyas lifestyle and achieve jnanam, or after achieving jnanam they take up sannyas, whatever it is. Their lifestyle is of renunciation. Even being in such renunciation lifestyle, for some purpose, their prarabdha is like that. They are also contributing in different ways. Such people, their actions are also absolved. Even their actions are not going to gain any, karma. That is what he's speaking in verse 21. Let's get on to shloka number 21.
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा त्यक्तः सर्वपरिग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Here when he's talking about a sannyasi, he's saying nirashihi. Nirashihi means the one who is free from all expectations, hoping for nothing. Not that he's a hopeless fellow, hoping for nothing. Oh, hopeless fellow. In fact, such fellows are really dependable. You understand? So he's saying, hoping for nothing. Nirashir. Yata chittatma. Uske baad he says, tyakta sarva parigraha. Parigraha means what? Possessions. Sarva parigraha, all possessions. Tyakta sarva parigraha means renouncing all possessions. See how beautifully he builds the thought. Sri Krishna. Before he says tyakta sarva parigraha, he says yata chittatma. Yata chittatma means what? Yatihi means controlled person. Of what? Chitta and Atma. Atma here means the body. Chitta means thoughts. One who has control over mind and body. Only after having good control over mind and body, which you can gain through what? Nirashi. Nirashi means without any expectation. How will that happen? That will happen when you understand that with Viveka, in this world, there is no joy. There is no possibility of gaining happiness from the worldly objects. Happiness is within me. That is my real nature. With that knowledge, you become Nirashi. And you will have some control over your mind and body. Yata chittatma. Then sarva parigraha. Then you can give up all parigrahas. Means what? The possessions. See, literally also giving up possessions. And even if you have not given up possessions, as a person who is in the world, you can give up the possessiveness. You understand? In the case of a sannyasi, both the possessions and possessiveness have been given up. In the case of a grasta Gnani, possessions are not given up, but possessiveness is given up. You understand? So he says, having relinquished all possessions. See, why do we need possessions? To take care of this body, this mind, this intellect, this life, and do whatever actions through that possessions. So for protection. But one who is risen above any identification with the body, say, listen, I'm not even going to keep those things for the protection of this See, please understand this ego is a fake entity. When you scrutinize, it actually doesn't exist. This is the beauty. It's like rainbow. You are seeing the rainbow, but it actually doesn't exist. So it's like that. This ego and mind, they're very much there now. But when you really start scrutinizing it, it doesn't exist. So that which doesn't exist is false and fake. And false always needs protection. Truth doesn't need any protection. Understand? Truth doesn't require protection. False requires protection. If you are weak, you need protection. Strong fellow doesn't need protection. So it's like that. He has gone to that level of wisdom. He is able to throw himself into that conscious vulnerability. And therefore, he gives up all possessions. And very beautifully he says, Tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma. Shariram kevalam karma. See what karma a sannyasi will do. Throughout the day, he is into japa, meditation and stuff like that. And maybe in today's context, you will see some Gnanis, sannyasis are also giving lectures to people who come, or whatever seva they are doing, whatever it may be. Some actions, at the least, just bhavati bhikshandehi, little bit bhiksha, to safeguard this body, just to exhaust the prarabdha karma. That's all. So he says, shariram kevalam karma, doing merely bodily action, he incurs no sin. So he says, kevalam karma, kurvan na apnoti kilbisham. Kilbisham means sin. Sin means, in Vedantic parlance, both papa and punya. Remember, anything that keeps us away from the divinity, anything that keeps us away from the self within is papam. In fact, if you keep on giving trouble to somebody, he will at least want to get back to the self soon. If you keep on giving a lot of good things, his desire to get back to the self may become less. Isn't it? So, if you want to finish somebody, don't do it. Just saying. If you want to really finish somebody, keep on praising that fellow. Keep on giving him. A fellow will destroy himself. So therefore, he says he incurs no sin. He incurs no pap, no punya. So, even if you are following a lifestyle of sannyas, but with this knowledge, no pap, no punya. So all he wants to say in these shlokas is, a Gnani, doing action, not doing action, no karma. Ajnani, doing action, not doing action, incurs karma. This is what we need to understand. The gist is this. What is important is to become a Gnani, to gain the knowledge. Uske baad you don't worry. A lot of people say, somebody has done this thing to us in our company, in my personal life. Should I talk to him or not talk to him? Should I just maintain basic relations? Arey Baba, wo sab baad mein. That is all external. आपका अंदर गुस्सा है क्या? आपका अंदर hatred है क्या? That you first conquer. You understand? After having conquered the hatred and anger and all that, now externally you decide how you want to live with that person. We are giving more importance to the external things. Oh, I'm teaching Bhagavad Gita. Should I wear this white and white or not something else? Arey Baba, wear something, that's all. Doesn't matter what you wear. But certain things have certain effect, in the mind, conducive. But that you are doing, that's all. Don't give importance to these things. So that's why I said, Nirashi yatachittatma. Then he says, Tyakta sarva parigraha. So, focus should not be in giving up possessions. Focus should be in becoming Nirashi and Yata Chittatma. Then possessions doesn't matter whether you give up or don't give up. We'll continue next week. Let's conclude now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.